Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. This is the Axial SCX10III step-by-step build series, and this is step I through J. We're going to start by assembling the Nitto Trail Grappler MT tires onto the plastic beadlock wheels. These new tires are 1.7 inches wide, 4.75 inches tall, on a 1.9 inch wheel. The R35 compound that we've come to expect from all of Axial's kits is present here. These do feel a bit softer though, and do have a nice lug spacing. The foam isn't terrible either, and because these beadlocks have a breather hole already in them, you won't need to vent the tires. It is a 3-piece beadlock, goes together quite simply, and also looks quite good on this tire. The plastic compounds that they're using are new to Axial. These are from the Losi factory, and do a really good job of keeping everything together. There's a nice bit of flex built into it, but definitely a lot more robust than any previous Axial plastic. There's all 4 tires done. I didn't think you'd want to watch me assemble all 4. Maybe we could do a separate video just for that. One thing to note there are spacers, metal spacers, that are supposed to go on before the hex on every corner of these portal axles. I presume that's just to keep the axle shaft from needing to be shimmed any further, so there's no movement back and forth. Those 12mm hexes are pretty standard across most kits of this size, and should offer you a lot of options on wheels. Keep in mind that because there is a portal box, a 1.55 probably won't fit. It all depends on your offset and what kind of wheel manufacturer you're using, but I would check that before you go ahead and purchase anything new. These new hubs look really great too. Really completes the look of the satin wheel. Literally looks nice. There's the whole chassis completed. It is a really excellently balanced chassis. It's much heavier than most Axial kits in the past. Even without a battery, it's close to 7 pounds. I think that scale motor up front with the whole new transmission looks really, really good. It's a nice start for anybody looking to do a really scale accurate build. I would love to see another set of cylinder or a cylinder cover on the other side there to cover the servo, but you know, I'm sure someone who is enterprising will come up with a design for that. Lots of clearance under these new portal axles and tons of steering, 45 degrees total. Another look at the scale motor and transmission and transfer case. It's all a really nice one-piece unit. Does a really great job of keeping a lot off of the actual area where you might put a full interior too. Look at all that clearance under there. It's definitely a tall truck with a higher center of gravity than an SCX10 II, but that mostly does come down to the portals. I think if you had a straight axle on there, this would be a very low truck. Now getting into some of the interior details. Here is the interior plate. I've already pre-sprayed that with some Tamiya PS Black. Now I'm trimming out the driver figure and removing the overspray film because I'm going to paint that body on the outside. I'm using Proline's paint for Lexan bodies. I'm using a brush to paint it on and drying it in between coats. It will take a few coats to do this, but it does offer a really nice look, especially when you paint on the outside like this. I think it just kind of makes it look a lot better than a glossy body that's painted on the inside. This Proline paint does have some issues with sticking to Lexan, so what I like to do is heat it up in between to really help it bond, and then once all my detail work is done, I'll spray it with Tamiya PS Clear. Now I'm using some acrylic markers to add some detail to the shirt, just to kind of make it stand out a little bit, and doing a final overcoat in the red paint there to kind of knock back some of those details. It's really easy to mix these paints to create your own colors, so that's what I'm doing here to create a little bit of a flesh tone. And just brushing that on, I'll do the neck and the hands. And just a final few minor details on the shirt just to really kind of make it stand out a little bit. Just doing some pinstriping, I guess. I'm going to use my airbrush here to just give it some depth and some shadow. I'm using some Vallejo model air paint, which is designed for airbrushing. And this is just kind of an extra texture step, but I think it kind of helps make it look a little more realistic. Once that's all done, I'll coat the whole thing in Tamiya PS Clear. Removing the rest of the overspray film, and before we do that final coat in clear, I'm going to apply all the stickers. These stickers were a bit thinner than what I'm used to from Axial in the past, so do be careful when you're putting them on. It is possible to tear them quite easily, and especially when you're trying to get those bubbles out, you can really make a mess of it, so do be careful when you're applying them. It is really cool to see such a nice faithful recreation of the interior. That red accent on the dash is in every single Rubicon except there's one color that doesn't get it. I think it might be the green, the Mojito. Anyway, nice stickers. Nice to see the Rubicon stitching on the back of the seat there too. It's just really good looking interior, and there it is with the flat clear PS Tamiya paint applied. Just knocks everything back, makes it feel a lot less glossy. And there's my head. This head does not obviously come with the kit. You do get a head though with an option for a hat, baseball, or cowboy. So you can go city or country, I guess. There's the roll cage. Very easy to put that together. And it's nice that it's a different color to add a bit more depth and texture to the interior overall. And there's the body. I'm not going to take you through the process of painting it. I've done that in other videos, but it was really straight ahead. Just a masking job and some Proline paint that I mixed up myself to give it a unique color. Again, cut the overspray film on the grill and the roof so I could paint that on the outside with Tamiya PS Black. Here we are installing the fenders and most of the plastic parts for the body. There are a lot of parts, but the great thing is because this body is pre-cut, all the holes are already ready to go for you, so they're very easy to install. Difficult to film, but easy to install. There's the grill with the rad and the already pre-chromed headlight buckets. That piece also incorporates the hidden body posts. So it's everything screws into another plastic piece or through a hole in the body, so it is very rigid and helps keep the body rigid too. And we'll get through peeling off the rest of the interior maskings as well. And I think we'll see the finished body here in a second. And there it is. This was a really satisfying build. I took my time with it. There wasn't a lot that I got hooked up on. And really, overall, really thrilled with this kit. I think it's definitely worth a look if you haven't picked one up yet already. I'll be sure to put a link down below where you can find out all the information about it. Thank you so much for watching this build series, and we'll see you again soon.